Welcome to Intuitive Astrology with Molly McCord. Thank you so much for joining me today as we discuss the astrological energies from August 6th until August 13th as we continue moving through the dynamic, energizing month of August with a lot of big astrology. And this week it is coming in strong, and we're going to be discussing it in today's show. As Mars enters Libra, we have an active Air Grand Trine. Mars then opposes Neptune and Saturn in Aries. The Aquarius Full Moon is blasting us forward, plus Mercury stations direct. Venus is conjunct Jupiter. And we have the second Saturn sextiling Uranus of the year. All of this is happening this week. I will be touching on each of these major transiting aspects. Plus, I have individual videos for you on YouTube discussing certain aspects even more. So just know that in this podcast, we do the overview and we discuss what to prepare for and be conscious of as the week unfolds. But on YouTube, I hope that helps you go deeper into more of the specifics of these transits. Also important to highlight that the astrology I do is focused on our consciousness, our evolution, and our higher path. We look at the astrological transits from an empowered place, knowing that we are creators, we are on an important soul journey, and that we are becoming more self-aware and more grounded in our true divine power because of these transits and the big astrology of these times. So I want to call that out because I do not do fear-based astrology that keeps you in the old paradigm that is about you being in fear and afraid of what might happen in the world. We don't do that here. And part of what is important to call out is that because the world is continuing to divide, there is an increase in the separation. It's important to remain highly intentional in following the frequency of what you're drawn to, what supports you, where you feel your energy rise into the strength of who you came here to be. So if you prefer fear-based astrology that's all about the horrible possible things that could happen, then I'm not your girl, and I'm okay with that. Blessings and goodwill on your path. But I fully claim that this is a time of humans becoming stronger in all areas of our energy. This is a lifetime where we understand we've been through a lot of programming, fear-based programming that is designed to control you, manipulate you, keep you small, keep your energy low because of the energy vampires who benefit from that. All of that is very big at this time. The spiritual warfare that has been on the planet has unfolded across decades. And so this is where we are changing literally the vibration on the planet by changing the vibrations within us, by changing the vibrations within our cells and our DNA. That's what I offer you. That's what I have to offer you. I love this work, and I'm so delighted to connect with so many of you because this is a lifetime of exceeding our own limitations. That's the astrology I do here. And let's be honest, not everyone can offer high vibrational understandings because they're not doing the work. They're not healing. They're not becoming a new version of themselves. They can't offer you anything that they aren't. So we are walking this path together. We are going through these ascension spirals and moving up in the higher frequencies together. And I hope that helps you feel strong in knowing that you have a soul tribe walking with you on this path as we collectively move into more of our dreams, more of our powerful manifestations, and more of what we're here to love in ourselves in this lifetime. The astrology supports this. It is a time of true self-empowerment. And this is one of the big themes of the week ahead because you're going to have some important choice points coming up over this next week. So let's start by discussing Mars entering Libra on August 6th. This is a pivotal change for Mars. Keep in mind that Mars has been in the first half of the zodiac wheel since entering Aries back on May 1st, 2024, over a year ago. Over a year ago is when Mars started this new cycle in Aries, but has been in the first half of the zodiac for an extended stay because of the retrograde that Mars was in, which we have discussed extensively as he retrograded between 6 degrees of Leo back to 17 degrees of Cancer. So now Mars enters into Libra, which begins the second half of the zodiac wheel. And this is an important threshold point as now Mars moves into sharing his energy out in the world and with others. Mars moving through the first 6 signs of the zodiac is about working with your own Mars energy more personally and internally, understanding more of your triggers or frustrations, looking at how you take action, how you take care of your body, how you honor your daily energy and what you run through your physical self every day. Now Mars enters into Libra, which is the sign of the other, sharing, cooperation, negotiations. This is where Mars now needs to consider, what am I doing in relationship with others or to others? Mars is in his detriment in Libra. This means he's furthest away from his home sign of Aries, and he is more contemplative. He's focused on the weighing the pros and the cons, considering things from multiple objective standpoints, even going into, do I like this? Do I want this? What is going to move me forward? And this Mars in Libra is not strong in the action-oriented expressions that Mars is known for. So this is a Mars that is sitting and thinking with things. And so we have something coming up within us that maybe you are considering, what do I do with this? What do I do next? How do I move this forward? And ultimately, Mars in Libra is bringing you into understanding what is the most aligned choice for me at this time that moves me into more of what I want with others, through others, or because of others. And the others is important because that represents the Libra energies. So that is what's coming up for Mars now, is he moves across this threshold into the second half of the zodiac, and he has to contemplate how things might play out. What is a potential here? How am I going to be responsible? And what do I want to consciously choose? What do I want to choose? So this could also feel like you are paralyzed with a decision. You're figuring out those next steps and you'd like more time to discuss it with others. And Libra, being an air sign, wants to talk about it, is also a good listener. And that's where you could find some reciprocity at this time, is that Mars in Libra feels compelled to discuss things even more and to get it off his chest, to get it out of his brain. Now, as soon as Mars moves into Libra, he has some big activations happening with all 4 outer planets. The first is a trine to Uranus in Gemini at 1 degree 12 minutes. This is Mars being electrified by a choice, expression, something completely unexpected that is pulsing through him. This energy is exciting. It is changing a trajectory in some way. This is where Mars is understanding, this is what I really think based on the information I've collected, the experiences I've had, and it's helping me get a bigger picture viewpoint of what I want to move towards. That Uranus in Gemini activates more of what we really need to say based on what we have pulled in to our everyday awareness thus far. And so this is where Mars is breaking free of something. He breaks free of feeling paralyzed. I feel too like Mars enters Libra on August 6th and might like he's going back and forth, left foot, right foot. And then here comes Uranus with a pow. And he has some kind of mental clarity pulsing through for the first time in this life so far, because Uranus in Gemini is newly in this third sign of the zodiac, trining Mars in Libra for the first time in at least 80 years. And this is meant to clear the slates of overthinking and meant to give you an important insight that changes the game, up-levels your thought process, and allows you to break free of old habits. And as Mars is making this trine to Uranus in Gemini, a stronger presence is being felt as Pluto retrograde in Aquarius enters into the conversation with deep truths, powerful understandings. And I find that this is also an important change that's unfolding for Mars, because Mars is no longer in an opposition to Pluto, which was the case 3 times since last November. Now Mars is aligning with what Pluto has been requiring him to change and see differently. When there's an opposition to Pluto, Pluto wins. Pluto is the more dominant force. And now this Mars in an air sign trines Pluto retrograde in Aquarius, and there are revelations, truth bombs, and important insights that come into the collective that Mars is ready to discuss, reveal, and sit with as he integrates the information. So this is where Mars is in a state of powerfully processing those messages, hits, maybe even a very intense, challenging discomfort that he's been facing and fighting from those 3 oppositions between Mars and Pluto. But now he's level-headed, balanced, objective, and can look with greater self-awareness at what he had to understand in order to go forward, in order to evolve into the next version of himself. So Mars in Libra trining Pluto retrograde in Aquarius is a big deal. And this is where there will be plot twists, breakthroughs, new visions, a change in trajectory that you put into motion. It could feel like you have to take action on something, that power from Pluto and Uranus blasting trine energy at Mars in Libra is not only activating thought processes and communications, but it's saying, I've got to do something with everything that's streaming in. Now, this can also bring up lots of people. That's what happens with an Air Grand Trine. Lots of people are involved in many conversations. A lot of dialogue is happening. A lot of information is passed around. It's a very active time. It will be fascinating to see what is perhaps trending on social media, or what are the big stories happening in the world. Are there shocking developments? Are there breakthroughs? Are there things we thought would never happen coming about? That's what's occurring with this particular Air Grand Trine. And remember, this Mars in Libra is the key to the movement of information, stories, narratives, and communications that maybe have felt like they've been a long time coming, or they've had to go through that deeper transformation that the Pluto opposition in Aquarius has required. But this is when something starts to click. And the clicking can happen quickly. It also can occur in very shocking waves of information, waves of realizations. Now, there's 2 other factors at play here that, of course, we have to mention. In addition to this Air Grand Trine, Mars in Libra is now opposing Saturn retrograde in Aries and Neptune retrograde in Aries. So the opposition between these 2 heavyweights in Aries is a big deal. And you're going to perhaps hear different interpretations of what that means. But essentially, there's a separation occurring that is necessary and right on time. And I'm seeing this separation as part of the ongoing growth and expansion of energies on the planet, where those who desire to go higher and further in their self-growth are going to feel propelled to do so, whereas those who are not choosing to grow, who are staying in in what we would call the lower expressions and really locked into ego mind energies, who are focused on the battle, the war, the horrible developments that can happen, who are overly focused on emitting those fear frequencies. Those energies are also going to be heightened. And because this opposition stirs up people's triggers, nervous systems, fear messaging, lower Mars in Libra, which is verbal combat and going to war over different choices, options, attacking people, viciously attacking people with the intention of harming them, humiliating them, wanting to bring them down. Then you have the lower energies of Aries here as well, which wants to engage in that war, which wants to be a part of that back and forth because of how it's rooted in a lower expression of self. So you're going to see a drastic split here and an ongoing polarization of what people are choosing, whether they're choosing to move higher and transcend into unity consciousness, or whether they're grasping on to the lower expressions and wanting to be in those fights and battles because that's all they've known. And they're not making other choices. They're not healing. They're not taking responsibility. Onwards, the list goes. And so with this opposition between Mars and Libra and Saturn and Neptune, there is going to be deeper and more drastic separation on the planet between the energies of our times. And it's going to bring up important choices here about what is in alignment for you and what you want to invest in, what you want to put energy towards that's good for you. That's a big part of this Kite energy and also this Air Grand Trine, is to think consciously of what you're here to develop and experience in this lifetime that really matters to you, and put your energy in that direction, even if you feel like there are others who want to hold you back, who want to hurt you and harm you, who think they have all this power in their words when all they have is poison, trauma, and addictions. These are the lower entities that we are meant to transcend and move away from, because we have the power and consciousness to do so now. So again, it's a splitting of the worlds that comes up here. It's a drastic divide that we've already been feeling, but it's going to widen with this opposition, and it's going to create more clarity around the differences. And in fact, it's going to feel repulsive. There's going to be areas, people, situations that you just can't even go near because their energy is so obviously damaged, unhealed, negative. You get the gist. And it's going to be so obvious that you could make these instant decisions, like instantly turn your back and turn away because you're realizing the bigger dynamics that are happening and you're choosing your own higher path. That's part of the separation, is that there's going to be things that you feel, I need to leave this. I need to move away from this. I need to step back, step away, put my energy elsewhere. And this is going to unfold through the rest of this year, is that there's going to be things coming up in our lives around connections, friendships, partnerships, environments, situations, conversations even, that you're realizing this isn't me. This is no longer in alignment. This doesn't resonate. I'm feeling really uncomfortable for the first time, where previously I was okay with it, or it didn't get to me, or maybe even you didn't even notice it. But now it's front and center because there is such a divide in the energy fields that we can't straddle between the two anymore. We've got to choose our ascension path, if that aligns for you, and we've got to choose it quickly because of how fast the energies are moving through us. So that is all part of how this kite is going to unfold. Now keep in mind, Mars activates this energy starting August 6th, and it does last until about August 11th. Now at the same time, we're going to have this Aquarius full moon at 17 degrees on August 9th. The Aquarius full moon is taking us into very powerful higher timelines. And I know you've probably heard a lot about timelines. It's practically overused at this point, but this is choosing your highest timeline that perhaps you've been pondering, thinking about. This is going to be a surge of forward movement into that next reality that your future self has been guiding you towards. I'm feeling it as these blasting, expansive energies in the third eye chakra, where you could feel like you're seeing more. You're more connected to your future self and what you're creating in that higher timeline already. I'm feeling this overlap, but it happens quickly. It's like vroom. That's the actual sound effect. Vroom. It comes together instantaneously almost. And because this Aquarius full moon involves what I've just been discussing with the Air Grand Trine and Kite, this is a big realization here. And I feel that for some people, you might realize I can have more than what I allowed myself to claim. I can create more in my life. I can have a bigger dream for my life. I can move into this next level vision of my life that maybe I only saw pieces of it and only parts of it. I'm seeing, actually, as I say that, a painting done with pointillism. Pointillism is a painting technique that uses these dots of color to create images, forms, a landscape. And the canvas can look pixelated. It can look like, what is this? Because when you're too close to it, you can't see it. You're just seeing these dots and it looks like a mess. But when you step back, you see a bigger picture. You understand how all of this works together and that each of these dots is creating a bigger vision. And that's how I'm seeing this particular Aquarius full moon, where that full moon illuminates something significant for you to see. And maybe you're realizing you were too close to the canvas, but when you step back, you see how all these dots beautifully work together to create a new dream, a new understanding of what is coming together for you. This is a vision activating Aquarius full moon. It could feel exceptionally juicy, exciting, unexpected, shocking. And it's exactly that energy that propels us forward, where you could say, I'm done with the status quo. I don't even want my comfort zone, and I don't even care about what I thought I had to cling on to. I'm ready to be into this next chapter of my life. And I think a lot of people are going to feel this strongly. Now, at a more realistic level, you could understand this is the work I came here to do. This is my sole mission, my sole purpose. I am now fully claiming this dream of what I want my life to be. And it's important to know that when we're ready to manifest at the next level, we have to honor the feeling of it. And the feeling of it is going to be strong this week because we also have this beautiful conjunction between Venus and Jupiter at 14 degrees of Cancer, which is exact on August 11th. And this conjunction is creating a water grand trine. Yes, in addition to what I just mentioned about the Kite and the Air Grand Trine, there's a water Grand Trine as Venus and Jupiter are conjunct at 14 degrees of Cancer, trining that North Node in Pisces at 18 degrees, and trining 3 feminine energies in the middle degrees of Scorpio. So in the middle of Scorpio, we have Black Moon Lilith at 14 degrees, Juno at 17 degrees of Scorpio, and Vesta at 14 degrees of Scorpio. So gathered together in the middle degrees of Scorpio, this is intense, deep, powerful, feminine energy going into the depths of truth, desire, passion, intimacy, and deep intuitive messages, working with the Venus-Jupiter conjunction and that North Node. Wow, what a lineup here of intuitive intensity that is strengthening our psychic abilities, dream state messages, soul wisdom, and so much more. I mean, this is a lineup of strong, feminine, flowing energy that I feel is rising within all of us. It is the divine feminine rising within so that we can be more capable of intuitively navigating our lives and not only relying upon what we see or what we think. These are energies coming through that are also going to fix something. And that's just what I'm sensing here. There is a fixing, resolving, repairing energy in place. There's also a sense of newly aligning with a higher truth. And whether that truth is personal or collective, there's going to be some powerful messages that you could feel just land. It just aligns and you're like, yes, this is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm sensing. This is exactly what I want. And there's also healing at play here. I'm going to have a short video for you on YouTube going through the specifics of this water Grand Trine, simply because it's becoming too much to cover in today's podcast, but it's very important. So I'm going to set it aside and do more of a deep dive into this energy signature for you. Actually, I'm going to do it as a separate podcast. Okay, so you're going to have a separate podcast coming on Friday or Saturday discussing this specific water Grand Trine. Now, as I mentioned, part of it is Venus conjunct Jupiter in Cancer at 14 degrees. And one thing to note here is that Jupiter amplifies and expands the energies of the planet that it is conjunct. So this Venus in Cancer is an empath, sensitive, intuitive, very aware of the multiple layers that can be swirling around her in an environment. She is connected to what she's been through in the past. She's aware of her own personal energy memory bank, what she has loved, what she has felt, what she has been through. Venus in Cancer desires to be understood, to be heard and seen. She seeks safety and connection. She can have a very pure heart that really wants true love and wants to feel that there's a deeper resonance that she can relax into and trust, not only in herself, but in another. So as she comes to this conjunction with Jupiter at 14 degrees of Cancer on August 11th, and August 12th, it does depend on your time zone, so August 11th at 10:30 p.m., there is an amplification of what she's holding in her emotional container. And so this can play out in many ways. This can absolutely be an increase in the love, joy, harmony that Venus naturally wants to feel, or it can be an increase in her memory bank, in things from the past that she's still filtering through and moving through. It activates more of her emotional state and brings forward what she's really in. So think of this Venus in a pool. And is that pool of water safe, loving, kind? Or is she surrounded by very heavy, dense energies? It can play out in a number of ways. And I know we like to discuss Venus conjunct Jupiter in a certain way. Jupiter is going to make whatever you're feeling bigger and ask you to look at the wisdom, the beliefs you're holding, what is infusing this energy within yourself, how can it support you in your growth, and what is it offering you now, especially at a personal level of your being, which is one of the Cancer expressions. Cancer is the only water sign associated with our sense of self personally, and so it highlights what your energy container is holding, how it's moving through you, and Jupiter can support that, whatever your intention is or however you want the energy to move going forward. This can certainly be uplifting and feel motivating or inspiring. It can also bring in more emotional depths within yourself to understand and explore. The highest expression of this conjunction is that it is abundant, feels good, brings about more gratitude and joy into your life wherever you have this 14 degrees of Cancer point. and can even show you how far you've come, since that Cancer energy can be quite reflective. Now, as I mentioned, I'll have a separate, shorter podcast for you describing this water Grand Trine more specifically, because there are so many energies in play, but I hope this helps understand some of the overarching themes to look for on August 11th. So as the week begins on Monday, August 11th, we have this conjunction between Venus and Jupiter. Then we also have Mercury stationing direct at 4 degrees of Leo. And this, of course, is a standstill energy with Mercury opposing Pluto retrograde in Aquarius at 2 degrees, while also trining Saturn and Neptune in Aries, sextiling Uranus in Gemini, and sextiling Mars in Libra. So this Mercury is coming to a standstill at a very powerful point of decision making, understanding what you've been reviewing, reconsidering, and reworking in the first half of Leo degree points in your chart, since this Mercury retrograde covered 15 degrees to 4 degrees. So this is a powerful understanding of a deeper issue. And that opposition to Pluto is having you face a fear. Look at something so honestly and so clearly that you're able to see it for what it is without any blinders or anything coming up through the lens of ego, pride, overconfidence, resistance, being too willful or too stubborn. This is a time to face something that's already been in motion and is probably connected to what the Mars-Pluto opposition stirred up earlier this year. And I've been referencing that here in the discussion of Mercury in Leo, is that there's something we're now meant to see in a new light and to have a more evolved perspective on it. How have you grown? How have you challenged yourself to be better, to face something head on, and to look at a fear, a challenge, or a power dynamic in a new light that strengthens you? And so there can be some strong messages coming up here around what you are evolving through and how it's personally affecting you, but with the spirit of transformation, meaning it's meant to show you how you can be more of yourself by facing something head on. Mercury is going to slowly move forward, and that's where the energy continues to power up and gain clarity and strength. More power in your words, what you're thinking, what you're deciding. More personal clarity on what you want to create, and what matters to you now. And because Mercury is interacting with so many other planets, there could be a sense of something clicking. Like, yes, this is it. A powerful, determined yes. But in order to arrive at that yes, you had to do some deeper changes within yourself. Mercury has renewed courage as the station direct happens on August 11th. So pay attention to what is grabbing your attention, what is speaking to your energy, lighting you up, perhaps infusing you with new creative inspirations, and see how that energy aligns with both your heart and your solar plexus. Because if it is truly resonating with you, you'll feel it as that powerful personal alignment within yourself. There can also be strong no's with this energy too. But because this Mercury is actually creating a kite configuration, and Mercury is the liftoff point for the kite, there was an important review process that you needed to move through to ensure that what you were saying yes to is because of what you've changed, because of what you have faced, whatever that fear has been for you. And so part of this Mercury stationing direct is that it's also occurring during the second sextile between Saturn and Uranus. Now, they first met up in a sextile back in April of this year when Saturn was in Pisces and Uranus was in Taurus. Now, Saturn is retrograde in Aries, Uranus is in Gemini, and they're creating a sextile at 1 degree 12 minutes of each sign. There is a lot of fresh awareness with this sextile, new understandings that could feel solid and practical. That Saturn in Aries, especially retrograde, brings in more patience, discipline, focus. And as it interacts with Uranus in Gemini, that's where our minds are willing to see something in a whole new light around what you were learning or understanding, what you're newly learning or opening up to. This is exciting in terms of the ideas, insights, downloads, possibilities, choices that are being presented. And that Saturn in Aries will make a confident, clear choice based on what you want for the long term. So this could also be a time when you have new plans in motion or coming to your awareness that you're seriously considering. You're seriously looking at this as an option, analyzing it, looking at the practical components, the how would this work? How would this come together? How do I take the next steps? And in the sextile, it aligns. The details you need and the facts that are important click and make sense. And because of this, the new vision takes shape and it starts to present itself as a new pathway that supports the chapters that you're ready for and what you're building. And of course, the Saturn is a builder. In Aries, he's building with fire, so he has to temper it, he has to trust it and stick with it without expecting those quick results. But when this energy is in a sextile to Uranus in Gemini, there is more synchronicity and our brains are able to conceive the new potentials. So this is a very inspired energy here. The second sextile between Saturn and Uranus. We're going to have one more in January. The third sextile will be when each has returned back to those previous signs. So Saturn will be back in Pisces, Uranus will be back in Taurus. And again, they'll have that third sextile January 20th, 2026. So we will talk about that as we get there. We already have enough going on right now, but it's important to understand that these new ways of living our lives are being presented for a reason. And that's because it can happen. It is possible. And if you're willing to anchor in the dream with confidence, the universe will bring through more of what you need through the Uranus and Gemini energies. So this feels quite buzzy and exciting, but again, it has that grounded energy to it where you might even feel that when you drop down lower into your lower chakras, you could feel a calmness and a trust that what you're building, what you're moving towards is aligning, and it's happening in a way that's bigger than you, bigger than just your own desires or your own willpower. It's happening with these beautiful universal forces that are supporting us in understanding how our energy can powerfully create when we are this intentional and this aligned. And this feels like it's going to help so many people who are moving into their truer purpose and the new beginnings that you know are on their way. There are opportunities with the sextile. There are harmonious developments, invitations, support shows up. You get information from a friend or you have a conversation with someone and they say exactly what you need to hear and give you information that helps you connect the dots in some way. So this is going to be a beautiful journey, I think, through August as we start to see what is truly connecting, what is showing up to support you, and to be aware that this is a time to choose your best and highest timeline. Go bigger so that you can go further. Step into more of your magical connection with the divine and with the universe. Trust what you want because these energies are so special and they're coming through for a reason. I think some people are going to have some dreams manifest quite quickly, which is also a part of the accelerated energies on the planet. You could feel too like you're able to make faster decisions, and those decisions are effortless. And that's also related to how the energies are clearer right now on the planet. There is less density and less heaviness, especially for those who've been committed to their ascension path and their spiritual growth. You're going to have faster decision making, quick clarity, more instant manifestations, and some very beautiful confirmations that you're on the right path. It's a beautiful time to welcome all of it. Welcome all of it in. Allow it to land in your energy, to anchor you, to affirm you, to remind you that beautiful things are happening on the planet. Even though that can be hard to see at times, absolutely, because there's also a lot of horrible things occurring on the planet. But I feel zooming out and looking at the timeline of developments that are happening now, chances are you've been working for years to reach this level in your energy that can have quick manifestations, joyful developments, dreams being created and realized. That's what we're moving into here for the next 5 years. There's more that we're going to be exploring and integrating that's going to bring in greater ease. And I'm not just saying that. I will talk about that a bit more in an upcoming episode. But just know that the universe has known your desires. The universe knows your dreams and your wishes. Are you ready to receive and experience them? Are you ready to fully embrace them and welcome them because you deserve it and the divine timing is now coming through and showing up? It's important to have space in our energy for these developments and to know that they can just occur without our force or our might, that they can just show up and come together, and that it's one reward, if you will, that comes through after a lot of healing, growth, and personal development work. And I just feel like a lot of star seeds and light workers, you're going to have some exciting, beautiful developments here that will help you be a way shower for others, inspire other people to move ahead on their path, to stay focused on their dreams, and to know that anything is possible, especially in these higher frequencies. So I hope that helps with understanding the bigger picture. And yes, I will be talking about that more, but just know that this is a pivotal week in August that is going to bring about some clear decision making. It will have separation energies with it as more people consciously or unconsciously choose the reality they want to exist in. And we are continuing to move forward into the more empowered human who is creative, intentional, conscious, and a beacon of light on the planet. May August show you more of your light, more of your power, more of your creative abilities. May this next week gift you with insightful messages that affirm your soul's journey at this time, recognizing this is a big time, and perhaps we don't always connect with it every hour of every day, but your soul is present in guiding you, and I hope you feel a deeper connection to the safety, brilliance, intelligence, and radiance that you are here to create and experience on the planet now. And because there's so much astrology going on, I will have a number of videos for you over the next week. If you're on YouTube, be sure and hit that subscribe notification bell, and that way you'll be notified when those new videos are released. And some of them are a deeper dive into these topics. And that's because, of course, I can only cover so much in a podcast episode. This is already a lot, but I hope it helps ground you into what August is guiding us towards. For more on the Aquarius Full Moon, please check out my YouTube channel because I talk about not only the chart, but also on camera. I give you more about how it's a full moon that's blasting us into the future, which I hope helps you understand what might come up for you during the illuminated full moon on August 9th. As always, thank you so much for joining me. I'll be back every Monday and Wednesday for a new podcast episode. If you would like to learn more about your astrology chart, please check out all of my current offerings over at mollymccord.online, where I have a variety of programs from beginner to intermediate to advanced to support you in continuing your astrological knowledge and to know what your astrology chart offers. Every astrology chart is a beginning point of your journey. And as you learn more about it, you raise the consciousness of the chart, you elevate it, and you start to see new themes and new connections arise. So it's a beautiful ongoing study. Of course, I've been passionate about it for 35 years now. But if I can continue to offer anything about your own chart, it would be a joy to help you go deeper into what is available to you in this lifetime. So thank you so much for joining me, friends, and I will connect with you very soon in our next episode. Have a beautiful Aquarius full moon. I'll see you back here shortly.